This is Professor Darif Seitz, Microsoft Excel Introduction, focused particularly on statistics features. There will be a set of follow-on spreadsheets showing different areas of statistics and how you can use Microsoft Excel to do statistical calculations very efficiently and avoiding errors that you would make if you tried to do them manually. Also, when you try to do complex, tedious statistical calculations with a calculator, it's very stressful, time-consuming. We use calculators now for divisions and square roots. We also need to make use of them for more sophisticated calculations that we'll be seeing here. This sheet, which is shown with a name down here, Microsoft Excel Introduction, it's a tab. You can have multiple sheets in one of these worksheets, workbooks rather. We just have one. On a sheet, you have columns and rows, and where they intersect are cells with an address. F7, the column letter and the row number. F7 is the address for this particular cell over here in the name box. Every cell has a unique address. In cells, you put data or you see results. For example, here is some text, ABC. Here's more text, AB. The number 1, the number 6. Notice the formula bar up here shows what's really in the cell. AB really has AB, 5 really has 5. But there are other kinds of cells, such as this one, that it doesn't have a 13. It has something else, and it starts with an equal sign. Those are formulas. And there's a color scheme being used here in these spreadsheets. It's a convention that I'll follow. The beige with bold is a label of a cell. Also, cells are called fields. Labels. A beige that's not bold is a comment. So there's 2 comments here. And cells that are blue are cells where data had to be entered by the user in order for this spreadsheet to be of any use. And the cells with a white background, all of those are calculated cells providing the results that is the purpose of this particular spreadsheet, which is just an example of the features. Starting in the upper left here, ABC. In this first list of 6 cells, I entered taking 2 of these letters, the different ways you could take 2 letters, including the different orders of them. So AB or BA, and there's 6 different ways, AB, AC, BA, BC, CA, CB, 6 different ways. This 6 here comes from a function called count A, and the function has parameters. This is a range of cells, B1, the colon means through B6, B1 through B6 are these blue cells right here, and it counts up the number of those cells that are not blank, that are in some sense alphabetic. There's another way to get the answer of how many ways you can take 2 things from 3, and including order as a differentiator. That's through this function here called permute. It doesn't matter for this function what the actual example is. It says if you take any three and try to take two out of those three, there's 6 ways you can do it. The 3 and the 2 are parameters or arguments, to kind of synonymous terms for this function called permute. Here's another list. The only difference here is I have repeats, AA, BB, and CC, which could occur if when you're drawing 2 items, you're doing replacement with your draws. So you can draw the A and put it back, and you can get the A again. This gives 9 possibilities, and there's a different version of permutation function called permutation A rather than permute A that gives you the answer of how many ways you can do that, which includes repeats, and it's 9, just like we see here in this illustration. Moving over to the right, in these blue cells, I entered the numbers 1 through 10. 55 is a result. It's a sum. It's the sum of those 10 numbers, 55. And a quick way to get to 55, I'll delete it with the delete key, is in the Home tab, up at the ribbon, there's a sum, a mathematical sum symbol, a sigma, capital sigma. If you click it, it says, it recommends that perhaps these are the cells that would be useful to sum, given where this sum is appearing. And those are the ones I want. Hit the enter key to accept that, and it puts the sum function in with the range for me. That's the fast way to do sums. Below sum is a average computed with a formula. Formulas start with an equal sign. So there's really not a 5.5 in this cell. There's an equal sign and then an H11, which if you look at H11, that's this 55, that's the sum. And then slash is divide by 10. It's a hard-coded 10 for this example. 55 divided by 10, 5.5. That's the formula for an average. Take the items and add them up and divide by the number of them. Down here is an average function. Rather than having to know the formula, you just know the name of the function, it's average, and it will give you the answer. Of course, we want to know what the formulas are and how they work, but when we're doing statistics, to be efficient, we use the functions. There's an average function, again, taking a range of cells and gives you the answer. There's 2 different ways that you can enter this average function. I'll show below here how to do it. First way, the fastest way, if you know the name of it, type the equal sign and then start typing A, V, and there it is right there. When I click on it, it tells me what it will do. That's the one I want. Double click, list the parameters, and takes them in various formats. The easiest, fastest way right now is to use the mouse and go up here and drag, show that those are the fields, and let go, and it puts the range down there. You can type the parentheses if you want, but the fastest way, since there's no more parameters, is just to hit enter. And there's the 5.5. A different way to do it, if you don't remember the name of a particular function, you can use the insert function feature right here, this f of x. Click it, it brings up a window, and you can select a category to narrow down your search. And there are numerous categories here. The ones we'll be interested in mainly are statistical, math and trig, mainly math, and perhaps some text functions or logical functions in some of the spreadsheets. But statistical is what we want right now. Click that, and it gives you a list of all the different statistical functions. There's quite a few there. As you can see, average is the one we want. And you click it, it tells you what it will do. Click OK. And now is the arguments or parameters that you will specify. The ones it suggested were not the ones that I want. Again, take the mouse right now at this point and drag and let go. And there's the correct range. There's no more parameters that need to be entered. It gives the answer that's going to appear 5.5. We'll accept this as a finished result and click OK, and there it is, 5.5 down there. We'll get rid of that for now. Moving to the right, we see here what appears to be a list where each of the items in this column had this increment 10 added to them to produce this list here, and it's done with formulas. We're going to reproduce this from scratch to show you how not to do it and then how to do it. Click delete. Notice when I deleted, there were some formulas down here that use these cells, and one of them is trying to divide by 0 now, and you get a message saying, well, you can't do that. That'll be fixed as soon as we fix this. So we'll start with this first one. What we want to do is take this cell, so use the mouse, click it. Oh, sorry, can't do that. We want a formula. We have to start with the equal sign. Equal. Now you can go over here, click that, puts the H1 in. We want to add this to it, and we'll hit enter. We got the 11 just fine. I do not want to have to repeat what I just did individually for each of these other cells. That would be time consuming, tedious, not fun, stressful. There is a replicate feature. This little square, if you drag it, will replicate a formula in the cells that you drag it through. However, it will replicate relative. So this formula here goes to the left to get to 1 and goes to the right to get to 10. You can see if we replicate down and let go, it's doing just that. We went to the left to get the 2 and went to the right and got a blank, which is a 0, interpreted as a 0. So it's adding 0 to 2 and getting 2. That's not what we want. So what we'll do is, it was trying to do a drag and drop there. We'll delete these and go back here and do a little polishing on this one to fix that problem. Go to the formula bar. Instead of M1, put $M, $1. Dollar, when you put it with the column and the row, means an absolute rather than a relative reference. To accept that, I can hit enter, or I just click this little check accept box. So now we have a slightly different formula. Actually, it's very different. As we go down, it will use to the left to get the number, but it will always use M1 for the increment. Drag down, let go, and there we have our result. And again, if you change this increment here, make it 25, hit enter, everything instantly updates that uses that cell. Let's put it back to 10, how we had it. So again, I want to remind you of the color scheme that the other spreadsheets will be following. the beige cells are labels or comments, depending on whether they're bold or not. The blue cells are where in the spreadsheets you would have to enter data to get them to work. And all the other white background cells are the technology working for you and making the job much quicker and correct.